Hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means that it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And as if any of you listen to my broadcast on Friday lunchtime, you will know that I've had more than my fair share this week again. But, it is what it is. Life just keeps throwing stuff at me, and my job is to deal with it. I want to say that it's been a fun week in a lot of ways, and I'll talk to you a bit about that. But our topic today that I'm going to be talking about is changing your mindset. I saw a quote and I thought it was just magical. It said, "Don't be pushed around by the fears in your mind, be led by the dreams in your heart." And some of you will relate to that, right? We let our fears overwhelm our passion or our hopes for the future or whatever. And so a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is how do we turn that around? It's perfectly normal that we start going the negative route. And if you can feel yourself doing it, you're ahead of the game. And that means that you can also stop yourself doing it if you choose to. Remember, as I've always said to you, is feelings. If you're having feelings, that is something you can control. Facts are different, all right? Facts don't send you the same direction as feelings. Feelings send you on the hamster wheel, and what we need to deal with is wherever possible dealing with facts. Um, Thank you. Jeannie says, "Look like you gave your hair a great trim. You look terrific." Actually, I just washed it, and I actually, for a change, put a blow dryer to it, which I don't normally do. I normally just let it do its thing, but obviously, you appreciate that, so that's great. Thank you. All right, and it'll just get in my hair and my eyes the whole time, so just fine. For those of you who are celebrating the Chinese New Year, the year of the rabbit, Gung Ho Fat Choi, I think something like that, wish you all a very happy Chinese New Year. And we want to send thoughts and prayers for anybody who might need them. We know it was Enoch and Elias's birthday on the 20th. That would be Amber's twins. Remember when she had those? Erin's birthday is on the 26th. And for those of you who know Becca, her birthday is coming up on the 28th. So the topic today is about turning ourselves around. How many of you feel that you do quite a good job of that? You can feel yourself going negative, and then you just go, wait a minute, let me correct that right now. And it's not about being Pollyanna. It's not about anything other than we think so many negative thoughts in a day. If we don't correct at least some of them, we will end up in a horrible place, which I really don't intend to do. And I'm going to give you lots of examples today that hopefully help you see how we can do that if we choose to. So here we go. All right. Things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out. Do you know anybody that you can think of that would be true of? I can think of one, Jody, for one. All right. Things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out. Love that too. All right. So um, this week, I was having a problem, and I'll talk about it in a second, but I was having a problem with my cutting machine. And I messed up two projects, two different items in a row. Now, can you imagine I start beating up on myself like that? And then I was telling Jody about it, like, how frustrated I was because I was just wasting time with this thing. And then I said, however, aren't I lucky I have time? I am retired. And she called that a positive mindset. And I said, what a great topic. So thank you, Jody, yet again, for a great topic idea, even though you didn't mean it that way. And so if you enjoy today's topic, please thank Jody. All right. So Jeannie's saying I had to turn things around a lot lately. Jeannie, I am certain that you are still dealing with a lot of not only grief stuff, but also dealing with a lot of reality stuff that have to happen after the passing of a loved one. So, I'm not surprised you've had to turn a lot around. And just, our thoughts and prayers are with you as you go through the whole of this year. And I know we've got York's birthday anniversary coming up any minute now, right? I think that's beginning of February, if I remember correctly. I might not, but I don't know why, I have it in my mind that it's coming up pretty soon. And that also will add extra, pressure on you. So let's hope that some of what we talk about today will help you a little bit in that. I wanted to start by a quote that said, "Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some actually come to clear your path." And I wonder if any of you have ever had that one happen where what you thought was a really difficult time for some reason ended up difficult, yes, but it really sorted out a lot of stuff. How many of you have had a crisis? Well, Jeannie has, obviously. Jody has. I have. And sometimes in a crisis, you end up realizing a lot more clearly who your friends are. You realize who really cares and who pretends that they do, and you're sort of like, I've noticed that when those things happen, it's amazing the things that get clarified. Oh, Jeannie, I did get it right. It was February the 2nd, right? This is York's birthday, and February the 12th was your anniversary. Well, it'll always be your anniversary. So, and you would have been married 29 years. Right, Jody will make a note of that so I don't forget next year that it'll be 30 years. So thank you so much for updating me on that one. And our thoughts, as I said, our thoughts and prayers are with you big time, Jeannie, as you go through these. And then you got Valentine's Day in there as well. And you know, there are no thoughts about that I can, verbalize. I just don't have the words. When your mind is full of assumptions, conclusions, and beliefs, it has no penetration. It just repeats past impressions. All right, you don't get new thoughts going on when you're thinking bad ones. So for those of you who listened on Friday, you will know I had this big dilemma with my furnace and whether I wanted to replace it or not. Did I have the money to replace it? What was I going to do? All these sort of things. And you will also know that once I sort of worked it out that I actually didn't have to replace it if I didn't want to, my stress level went down considerably. All right. So sometimes we just need another way of looking at things that maybe doesn't suit everybody, but it's like, boy, do I have to? No, I don't have to. I may choose to. If and maybe I choose to do it for a year to find out how expensive it is to heat the house without the furnace, and then make a decision. All right. And so sometimes these things that we think we have to do tomorrow, we don't. We can spend a bit of time thinking about it if we choose to. So it was so funny. I was talking to Doug about it yesterday. And one of the things that came up for me when I was talking to him was, hey, Doug, what about, the guys coming on Tuesday, the furnace guy, to give me a quote. But what about asking him if he's renovating somebody's house and there's a good secondhand one? Maybe I get a secondhand one. I'm pretty sure that the big money is actually in the installation cost, and that wouldn't change. So that's what I want to find out. How much of that bill of, whatever that amount is actually installation, and how much of it is for the unit. Because, it's possible I might be able to get a substantial savings that way, in which case I might consider it. You understand? There are all sorts of different ways of thinking of things. Edward Bonar said, there is no doubt that creativity is the most important human resource of all. Without creativity, there would be no progress, and we would want to be forever repeating the same patterns. How many of you are old enough to remember when JFK said, we're going to the moon? And yeah, we all got, yeah, right. What's he been on? And then how many of you realize that because somebody said it, we ended up doing it? and or not. I mean, there's some that believe that we never did go there, but never mind. And so I go back to that initial quote, which, by the way, Jody, if you could just make a note for me there, I want to take that initial quote that I said about things going in, the negative things going in our heads, stop us from doing our hopes and dreams. Because what I found out was you have to really believe in the positive to have the positive happen. To how much of an extent is the question? All right. I am a great risk manager. I've spent my life being able to ask the question, what if, and then try and make sure I've got the what if covered. But can you understand that in a way that is negative thinking, because I'm constantly thinking about, but what if? And it stops me a lot. It also makes me very prepared for things, but it stops me a lot of going forward on some things. And I'm aware of that. So some of you will know that I'm trying to declutter. And no, I'm not trying. I am decluttering. Let me get that mindset straight for a start. Can you feel the difference in that? One says I'm trying to, which gives me an excuse. Oh, well, I tried. You all know that one, don't you? But the other one says I'm doing it. And the main thing is, can I prove it every week? And so this week, again, I gave the commitment I would get rid of another 2 bags of Christmas decoration crud. And I say crud because I've got 2 bins of Christmas decorations. One is the one that I cleaned out last week, and it's full. And now there's a second one. And that second one wasn't my primary joy when I opened the 2 bins up to start with. Do you know what I mean? All the good stuff that I wanted to decorate with was in the first box. So what do I know? There should be a very easy 2 bags of what we used to call in Africa nyaga nyaga, crud, in that second thing. I just need to do it. How much time will it take? Depends how much time I want to waste on it. True? So after the broadcast, I'm going to do what I can to pick up that big tote and put it on my bed. First, I'm going to protect my white duvet cover because all the sparkles and stuff that are in there. So I'm going to first of all put down a sheet, an old sheet first, and then I'm going to get that bin up onto my bed. Now, what if I can't lift it? What if it's too heavy? Can I make a plan? Or do I say, oh, it's too heavy, and now I need to break my back to do it? No, this is called, take bags with me if necessary and put the stuff into bags to start with, to get it to the bed. Most of them probably can go straight to the garbage. I love this. It said, when I think of you, I think of kindness, wisdom, and love. Thanks for being you. How many of you know somebody that you would love to share that quote with? All right. And so, you look at life and you go, a lot of what I believe is, if I'm not reading quotes like that every day to motivate me, to cheer me up, to give me a moment to think that I can, move forward on something that's causing me a lot of stress, then I'm not really looking after myself very well. So Christmas decorations happening after the broadcast. Why? Because tomorrow, some of you know I have to go to the cancer clinic, and that'll be another discussion in a second. But Jess agreed to pop by after she took me there and spend even more time with me and help me get my Christmas boxes under the deck, and away. So you understand that I am 2/3 of the way there. The Christmas tree box is done. The Christmas tree is down. Everything's in there. I just need help closing it. And then, it's a 2 people job doing that because It's a bit like putting that thing on my boob after my mastectomy. It takes two people. In that case, it took three. Um, so I know that she's coming tomorrow. So if I'm not ready for her to put them away, they're not going under the deck. And therefore, that's high motivation for me. What do I need? I need to just do it, right? Not talk about it, not complain about it, not feel, oh, I don't have time. It's about, Sal, go and spend 15 minutes and do it. I believe all I have to do is my commitment. I don't have to do the whole thing if I don't want to. Just get rid of 2 bags. Now, if I'm really on that mindset, how quickly can I do it? Earl Nightingale said, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. And that's either negative or positive. Now, here was an interesting thing. I saw a really interesting little gizmo. Oh, I should get it so you can see it. Really interesting gizmo on Facebook when I was doing something one day, and maybe you saw it as well, but it's a cutting tool that will cut in any direction. I haven't quite mastered the art of doing it yet, but what I noticed was it was about $20. And I went, really? And I looked at it and I went, that looks to me like something that's coming out of China. So I go to Wish. Do they have it there? And they did. $2 on Wish. Not 20, 2. Plus maybe a $5 shipping fee. By the way, I didn't get one, I got 2, which means I have one to give away if I want to, or I have a second backup one. So here's the thing. Everybody said, well, but Wish takes so long. Wish delivery times have really been updated. I don't know what they've done, except maybe have a warehouse somewhere in North America, because I've noticed what used to take 3 months is now taking a couple of weeks. So I'm very happy about that. So you understand, this was like, sometimes our negative thinking is because we're just not creative enough. So to my mind, it was like, now when I see things and I go, that's really good, and I go and check what the price is, I go, wonder where that came from originally. And if I think it might be China, then I go look, either Alibaba or Wish. So I thought I'd just tell you, amazing difference in price. I lied. It was $15 on Amazon. Sorry. And $2 on Wish. I thought it was 20. It was 15. You know, Abraham Lincoln said, the reliable way to predict the future is to create it. And I don't know why. That made me think of Kimmy, our viewer Kimmy in Wyoming, because I always remember her situation where she, is having a difficult time, right? She doesn't have a lot in her life, and like many of us, she struggles to make ends meet, as I'm certain a lot of us relate to. And she decided that complaining about it wasn't going to fix her problem, but doing something would. And so what she started to do was an incredible gamble, if you like. She decided to buy stuff on eBay and resell it, and make the profit. And I thought that was, you imagine all the things she had to learn to make that possible. But I'm pretty certain that she is quite good at it now, because as Jody and I always laugh about it, everything's easy to do once you know how to do it. But I've always admired the fact that she took that step. And it is said that we can't always choose the music that life plays for us, but we can choose how we dance to it. Right? We can't all choose our circumstances. The facts are going to come our way, and we might not like those facts, but the thing is, how we deal with those facts is a choice up here. And so, do any of you relate to my house is always a mess, for example? You can hear that going, you look around and you go, my gosh, I hope nobody comes to visit me today. Anybody relate? So I used to dread people coming to visit me because my house always looked like, somebody had rummaged through it recently, which is probably about what had happened. So what I decided was, instead of having that fear, what if somebody, the thing was, I used to dread anybody coming to visit because I would be embarrassed. And you do understand that that is of my own making. You see, I realized that I was not giving enough of my day to tidying up my home. I was not giving enough of my day to keeping the place tidy. And it's not that I wasn't a tidy person. I can be quite tidy, but I just need to spend the time. Now, the reason I don't give it time is I'm always distracted. Do any of you relate to that? I can I can get distracted at the smallest thing. Don't let me pick up my phone, because you can be sure I'll waste another 20 minutes before I realize that I'm wasting my time. So what I realize now is that it needs to be part of my everyday routine. And, we've been talking a lot recently about the 15 minutes of decluttering a week. And the other thing is, if you can do it, try not to leave a room without taking with you something that doesn't belong there. I have, where is it? I have one of these bins, and what I do in the evening is whatever room I'm in, I have it with me, as I'm sort of doing cooking and cleaning and binge watching and all those sort of things. I have this with me, and anything, whatever room I'm in, well, anything that doesn't belong there, I chuck in here, and then as I go to the next room, I take out whatever's does needs to go in that next room, and then find whatever doesn't belong there. And it's amazing, you can do that in an evening, and you'll be amazed how many things get in the wrong place. Now, the other thing I do is I have it with me. Kimmy, I was talking about you. I have it with me in the craft room so that when I finish cutting things out, I can put stuff in there and take it so that I can construct things while I'm binge watching. So what I wanted to show you was some of the frustration that can happen. One of the things I said to myself this week is, boy, hang on a second, I need to show the people who don't know. We've got a little club going, and it's called the Christmas Village Club. And this is what we're doing is every season, I'm going to be sending people the cuts of one group village grouping like this, so that by the end of the year, they'll have a complete village. And one of the things that that I want to tell you is, I don't know if you can see it there. Can you see the little fence around there? Can you see the fence around that building? White on white's difficult, I know. Hang on, let me pick it up, might be easier. See the fence? Now, I've been smart enough to take that fence and put it on one design on its own and make 10 of them. All right, copy it and paste it, make 10 of them. So that when I do a fence, I don't do one, I do all of them. Just hazard a guess, if you will, how much time it takes for those 10 fences to cut. And knowing that I've got it on full speed on my cutter, and that it basically is, a fairly simple design. Well, is it simple? I don't know. It's fairly simple. So just take a guess in your mind as to how long that would take to cut. And the answer is it takes a full hour to cut the 10. That is before, or rather, and then you get this. You get a page that looks like this, if you can see. And then what you need to do, I'm going to cause confetti problems now, right? You need to get it off here. Look at all the mess it's going to make. Did pretty well, actually. And then I found if you shake it, a lot more bits come off. That's good. And then if you flick it, the rest of the, okay, so that's pretty good, right? So those are 10 fences, but it doesn't look like 10 fences. Jody, are you still there? So then what you have to do is you need to bend it carefully like that. And then you need to separate it. And you can imagine, it takes a while. Thanks, Jody. It takes a while, all right? And that's just one. So you've got 1 hour of just cutting them. And then you've got the time to take them apart. And you can imagine part of my mind said, is it worth it, really? Do I really want to be doing this in my life? And hold on 1 second. I don't want to be walking this everywhere. Hold on. I'm going to wonder after, why is my mop there? Oh, you can see that. That's not good. No, you can't. And so why would I even do that to myself? That takes so much time and so much effort. Why? Let me tell you why. And this is about, I had to change my thinking about this. All right. And my thinking had to change because I was getting frustrated with how long it took. This is the cottage, right? This is the cottage by itself. Very cute. You got to admit, right? Nothing uncute about the little cottage. Let me put it this way. But what if I throw a fence around it? What do you think? Does it change the look of it? And what if I take the fence and I bend it so that it's actually, yeah, it changes the whole look of it, doesn't it? And then you're going, well, what about if I add a tree? Does it change the whole look of it? Or what if I add a smaller tree in the garden? Does it change the whole look of it? And so what, and how much time does it take to cut the trees? So to me, I've got to let go of the time aspect, right? Because to my mind, there is no maybe that having the trees and having the fence are all part of its charm. All right. So it's important that I don't look at it as a bugaboo. I look at it as, oh, that just takes it to a whole different level. Am I making any sense here? If I concentrate on how much time it takes, I'm going to be miserable. If I concentrate on how much joy it brings, I'm going to be happy. And almost everybody has commented on the fences and said I said aren't cute. And I go, I know. Now then, so then I said, what I've got to do is find a better way to cut them. When I say a better way, in other words, sitting and waiting for them to cut for an hour is going to drive me insane. And so obviously I can go and do something else. But what I realized was, what if it's the very last thing I do before I go to bed? Is I put the set of 10 in to cut. And so while I'm busy getting ready for bed and planning my day tomorrow and everything else, I've got that thing cutting every night if necessary. You see, if I get enough of them cut, if I'm ahead of the game, then I won't have that frustration if I suddenly have to have quite a few of them. And because I will already have 30 of them cut or 40 of them cut. It makes sense. It's about, if I'm prepared, it's not going to be stressful. I'm going to go, oh, there we go. We got to throw a couple, probably throw in an extra one or two along the way because they're so cute, knowing they will bring great joy. And when I looked at it, it was like, it depends on my mentality. Now, you know what I said about keeping things in the positive? The Buddha said, don't dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. So I've always said from my life, when I concentrate on the past, I get depressed. When I concentrate on the future, I get anxiety. So me, I'd rather deal with today. I look at both of those because they both have reason to be around, but I spend most of my time dealing in the present, not unless I'm dealing in the future in a positive way. If I'm daydreaming about, well, then I could do this and that and the other. That's good. That's good use of the. But it's about not if. How many of you understand? I've got a meeting at the cancer clinic tomorrow. What are they going to tell me? I don't know. Am I worrying myself sick about what they might tell me? No. I'm just, no, I've got an appointment tomorrow, and tomorrow I will find out what it is they have to tell me. There's no point in my worrying myself sick. However, human nature says, do I think about it every now and then? Does it come into my mind? Wonder what they're going to say. Yeah, of course, I'm human. And might they say I've got to do certain things that I don't want to do? It's possible. I'm ready for that. I'm prepared for that, but I'm not dwelling on it. But on the other hand, there's greater possibility perhaps that they're going to say, hey, you're fine. And all we need you to do is to come in once a year so we can check on you. That may be. So I've looked both sides of that, and I'm pretty prepared for either. Right? Why? Because every now and then I think about it, but I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. And that is the essence to me. Now, Jody told me an incredible story today. I'm pretty certain it would be the same for Jeannie and anybody living on the East Coast. They got a big winter storm coming in. Jeannie, how much snow are you expecting? And Jody was telling me about the fact they got this big storm coming in, and being Jody, she's trying to get prepared. And one of the things she realized was, and the way to get prepared is to go, what would I do, be angry if I had to do without? And as you know, I have my emergency grouping here. I've got lights. I bought emergency lights that if there is a power failure, I can just put them into my light sockets and they will be just normal lights. It's magical. And I just charge them up once a month to make sure I've got them. And we did have a power failure, and I was just like, I am so happy I got those. And then I've got a power bank thing. What do you call it? I got one of these things, and I can actually plug my computer into it if I want to. It's got USB ports, so I can charge my phone with it. And it also has DC output. I am not quite sure there's certain things. Yes, there's certain things. Good point, so that I've got with those sort of connectors. So, and the amazing thing is I do have it in my daytime and to charge it up every month. And I'm amazed. It's held the battery, the power in that all the time. So Jody Okay. Jeannie's saying she didn't hear how much snow they're expecting in Maine, but she said, I did go and get bread, skim milk, and bottled water. Yeah. So Jody was working out what, if the power went out, what would she most have problems with? And for her, it was her chair. She's got a sort of chair that she uses also as a bed. Am I correct on that, Jody? And so therefore, it fully reclines or reclines so she can sleep. But she had it happen where there was a power failure once and she couldn't get back up again, and getting out of there with her mobility problems was just a nightmare. It's a power recliner. There you go. So, what Jody decided was she got a new one. She better charge up the backup battery. Good thinking, right? On her list, the same as Jeannie went and got bread and skim milk and bottled water. Jody already had that stuff ready, but she then said, now what else do I need? I need to make sure that my chair is fully charged. And then she realized, as we all do, I've never done this before with this chair, and I don't know how to do it. So, and that's horrible, isn't it? That feeling where you go, and I don't want to do it incorrectly because that's a lot of money in there. So I don't want to do it the wrong way. And so what she did is she ended up phoning the seller and found out the way to do it. And apparently the people at the store were very patient with her and helped her through it. And she said, the words came back to her. One of my favorite mantras is everything's easy to do when you know how to do it. And yeah, and Jody's saying, yes, I was afraid to fry the chair, yeah, electric chair. I could, something, I totally, I totally got that, Jody. I would have been as well. When it's that expensive, you just go, wait a minute, I don't want to do this wrong. I have that, how many times I had to think when I trickle charge my battery in my car, and I've now learned, as long as you remember that red is right, and that's right because they both begin with a r, the red on the right, you know, that means the black goes on the other bit. And it's just so funny how I used to stand there like this going, if I get this wrong, will I fry my battery completely? And it's just like, after a while, just go, okay, fine, that's it. The other thing is, I got a trickle charger that will not go work if it's the wrong way around. I'm very grateful for that. So, can you relate to Jodie's thing? She was beating up on herself because she hadn't learnt how to charge it up beforehand. Some of these things in life we cannot do ahead of time, Jodie. All right, it's just like that. You need the thing to almost happen before you can even start thinking about it. But I can imagine you were beating up on yourself quite well. That I didn't, why didn't I do this a week ago or whatever? Well, hello, you didn't think of it a week ago, that's why. But you did think about it now and it's ahead of time. Hey, well done. All right. That's how you change it around, which I'm pretty certain you got to. Because you got out of victim and into victor, which is getting it fixed in a hurry. So Jeannie's saying that today she cooked a pork knuckle with sour sauteed onions, mushrooms, sweet orange peppers, and baked beans. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Sounds very German to me. Yum. Good stuff. Norman Vincent Peale said, to change your thoughts, you change your world. All right. If you change your thoughts, you change your world. And so I can imagine Jodie eventually, with the help, when in doubt, ask for help. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not one of weakness. So Jodie, it's plugged in now and charging, I believe. How many hours have you got to go? And how many hours until the snow gets there? And by the way, that Arctic thing is coming past me as well, I believe. So do you understand that just even her remembering my personal mantra about everything's easy to do once you know how to do it. And you've got to go through that first time. Jody, it's like the fences, right? you know, it's just started to snow and the chair will be charged in 1 more hour. That's what I call perfect timing. Well done. Something, I bought some hearing aids and I really couldn't believe it. Suddenly they started to get hot. Not burny hot, but hot. Like warm, more than just a little warm. And I took them out and went, what the heck's going on? And I thought, well, I don't want to put those back in my ears. And I put them in the charger. And guess what? Apparently, when they need recharging, they get warm. That's quite a good way to make sure they need recharging. But I'm going, that was a bit scary. But again, I didn't know that. Now I do. When they get warm, it's like take them out and get them recharged. So, and then I thought, well, hang on a second. I've only had them in for a few hours. Why do they need recharging? They're meant to last 24 hours. I can stress out about it, or I can do a little bit more research. And I have a feeling that's why I bought them, because the charge in them was meant to last a full day. And if it's only lasting a few hours, then I need to get my money back, because that's not what they said. However, it is funny when I put them in. You don't realize how you get used to not hearing things, right? And so when you put hearing aids in, you're going, what is it? Oh. Apparently that's the noise that my fan in my heater makes. What's that noise? It's just like I keep hearing things I don't normally hear, and it's interesting. How many of you have used the excuse, and I believe it is an excuse, so I want to give you a heads up on it. Hang on 1 second. I just managed to nuke the thing as I did that. I will get back there right now. Maybe. Come on. I will not be beaten by a mere electronic device. You know that. Or maybe I will. Please just do me a favor. There we go. No, it's not what I want. So I don't want calendar. I want board. Thank you. I've got to get back where I was now. You hate this. The perfect excuse was, how many of you have done this one? Well, I don't know how to do it. Or I don't know what to do. Yeah, I've got this problem, but I don't know how to fix it. So what happens? You remain victim to whatever it is. Just let me read what Jeannie's saying here. In the meantime, she said, I had a bit of a scare recently. My plow guy and his wife came to the front door and wanted to come in. He always talked to York, but I don't know him well. I let them in, but I was somewhat frightened. You know, Jeannie, that would be perfectly normal. And why did you feel that you needed to let them in? Right? And she's saying, and they sat in the living room and he gave his condolences, obviously, and then everything went well after all. Yeah, you're going to have to take a few risks like that, Jeannie, but don't feel that you are duty bound to let them in, especially if they came unannounced. I think that's one of the things, a big learning, which is just because they come to your front door doesn't mean you have to let them in. And you can just say to them, look, I'm sorry, I'd love to invite you in, but it's not convenient at the moment. Maybe we could make another time when we can do this. You can do it politely. Yeah, unannounced, right? I've quite honestly, I have had, I'm not joking, Jeannie. Benji arrived unannounced one day, and I said, no. You know that you need to give me warning that you're coming. That's polite. So just pitching up unannounced doesn't work for me. And I love you dearly, but this, and I had to just do it once to him, and I didn't have the problem again. So I don't know how to do it. Is one of or I don't know what to do. I think it's one of the things I hear most of all from people as their reason why they're not doing the things they want to do. And if you think about it honestly, it is not true. Because I'm pretty sure if I turned around to any of those people who said that to me, and I've said this to a lot of them, which is, if I paid you $1 million to find out how to do it by tomorrow, do you think you could do that? All right? Do you think you could do that? And what I want you to think about is, what would you do in a hurry? And I found this $1 million thing really a good motivator for getting my brain out of neutral and out of victim and into victor. Let me find a solution here. Because I say it to myself all the time. I start off by saying, oh, but I don't know how to do that. Well, hello, if they paid you $1 million to find out, how would you find out? And you go to Google and you phone your friends and does anybody know anybody? It's what you do that makes you a victor, not a victim. Kimmy's saying there was an ambulance at my neighbor's house at 2 a.m. I started thinking about that. Of course, right? They don't come for no reason. Did you find out what the reason was? Yeah, but it's possible that, no, okay. And it's your neighbor. Wow. So, I had that happen here, 10:30 at night, and ambulances, fire brigade, the police, everything, a few doors up, and one of my neighbors had died. And somebody I, was friendly with, and it was just like, wow, we never know. So when I look at this, I don't know what to do. It's not the truth. All right. So would you agree, if I was prepared to pay you $1 million to find out, would you start phoning people, knowing you're probably only 5 phone calls away from getting the answer? If at worst, it would be 5 calls. So now I've got a funny thing happening with, you remember, just bought me a TV after my operation, a new TV for my bedroom to get rid of my state-of-the-art TV that was in my bedroom. And she bought me a streaming one so I could enjoy the streaming. And the funny thing is, it's got a sound problem. Every now and then, the sound goes all wonky on me. And I don't know if the sound problem is because of the streaming, because of the modem, or because of the television. So I don't know what to do. So now I need to start, I'm going to get hold of the manufacturer of the TV to find out if they have any suggestions on it. I'm going to, to sort of speak to people who know about TVs, and I'm pretty sure it could be the modem. And then you think about it and you go, or maybe the TV itself, So now the thing is, it was a present. And do I want to tell Jess about this, seeing as she gave it to me? Well, I'm going to be sitting in a car with her going to the cancer clinic tomorrow, so I may just bring it up and go, Jess, I just want to make sure that you don't throw the warranty away just in case. All right? That's called be prepared. And by the way, it could be that it's not the TV at all. It could be the modem, and it could be whatever. But just don't throw the warrant, the sales slip away. How many of you agree that you've got to win in your mind before you can win in your life? All right? You got to get your mind right before you can get everything else right. I was thinking about Jeannie and all the readjustment she's going to need to do after the passing of her husband. And Jeannie, I don't know if did you ever hear the quote from Queen Elizabeth on grieving? Because I thought if you haven't heard it, I would really like to share it with you, because I think it was just so beautiful. Not quite sure if Jeannie's still there. Boom, 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 boom. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with everybody else, and then hopefully, there she is. Okay, what Queen Elizabeth, God rest her soul, said, and she said, grief is the price we pay for love. Grief is the price we pay for love. In other words, if you haven't loved so much, you wouldn't hurt so much. And that doesn't matter for the rest of us, doesn't matter whether it is, what it is about. You will know that I want to tell you, I have grieved more for some of my pets than I did for some of the people that passed. I don't mind telling you. Now, that obviously isn't the case for Jeannie, but, for me, it was just like, boy, yeah. It's funny how that happens, right? And so if you feed your mind as well as you feed your body, feed it with good ideas whenever they can be found. Always being on the lookout for a good idea, a good business idea, a good product idea, a good service idea, a good idea for personal improvement. Every new idea will help you refine your philosophy. Your philosophy will guide your life, and your life will unfold with distinction and pleasure. Right? I remind myself constantly when I get frustrated with myself, when I'm having problem cutting the houses out or whatever, and it's taking time. I go, Sal, you worked a lifetime to have the time to do things like this. You are retired. And then I'm about to watch the Australian Open in the middle of the night, right? And I'm going, I should be in bed. And I'm going, no, you worked a lifetime for the right to be able to go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning if you want to. You worked a lifetime for that right. It's only other people that think you should be going to bed by now. You don't think so. You want to watch the Australian Open. Jeannie's saying of her husband York, who passed, we were a couple who shared so many experiences. Now I sometimes think York is in the next room, and then I remember he's not. I think he'll always be in the next room, Jeannie. I want to tell you, from my personal experience, my mom is still watching my table manners. Do any of you relate to that? Jody will tell you every now and then. I'll just go, no, Mrs. McLean would not like that. um, or if I have bad grammar or something, I literally will go, sorry about that, because I know it's it's just like, so she's always with me, and I think the people that we love always will be. Oh, interesting. Kimmy's making a very good point. Kimmy's saying, I had people who used to just show up at my house until the virus came, the pandemic, right? And now I don't have that problem. Yeah, I think the pandemic has changed a lot of things for a lot of us. You see, when you become the master of your own mind, you are the master of everything. And so if I go to the cancer clinic, not if, when I go to the cancer clinic tomorrow, I'm going to carry with me a lovely quote I saw from Dolly Parton. And Dolly said, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. Right? So that's my goal tomorrow. All right. If I see somebody who's not smiling, I'm going to give them a smile. And they might wonder what the heck is she smiling about? And I don't mind, because I, from experience, have known that I can cheer an awful lot of people up with my smile. and that's the whole thing. How many scared people am I going to see tomorrow that I might be able to give a moment of grace to? Jeannie's saying good news that her is it your son-in-law, John, or is it your son? I'm never quite sure. Anyway, the daughter Chelsea is 10 weeks pregnant. Such a happy event. How often do we see that happen in life, Jeannie? One person passes, another one is brought into the world, or started. So, do you understand what I choose to think about tomorrow will be how I approach the day? If I go with, well, I'm going to the cancer clinic to hear what to do next, and in the meantime, I'm going to meet a whole lot of new people, a new doctor who's got to get used to me. Um, you've got to think about that. I've got a new doctor to train. And by the way, for those of you who remember my thing about my doctor, he actually phoned me this week and he did compliment me. I'm quite surprised. Um, so how many of you know I'm really looking forward to spending more time with Jess? She and I laugh a lot. And I'm certain I will learn more from her, as I always do. And she as well will learn from me. And one of the things that she said to me was, well, don't worry, I'll take notes for you in the daytimer. I know where to put the notes now. And I go, what makes you think I'll have my daytimer with me? And she said, you always do. When you have anything important, you always have your daytimer with you. And I said, yep, that's true. And she said, with clean pages to make notes. I have one of those ones you can expand. Hang on. Right, one of those ones that you can add things to or whatever. And then always in the back, right, if we're going to something important, there'll be clean pages ready to write on. And then, so she knows that about me now. She's been around me long enough to know that. I'll be looking for that later, Jody. If I say to you, where did I put my diary? Tell me, I put it down when I was broadcasting to my left. Because later I'm going to go, where's my daytimer? Of course, intelligent person will put it back where it was when I found it, but I'm not that intelligent. Now then, here's another thing. I think you all know that Doug is not into the commercialism of Christmas. Into Christmas, absolutely, he's Christian, but not into the commercialism, so he will not buy presents or give them. Actually, he has occasionally, but doesn't make a thing of it at all. And doesn't like people buying for him for the same reason. And, for a while, when I first knew him, I tried to honor his process, if you like. And then I realized I was getting really nose out of joint about the fact that I couldn't get him, kept seeing things that I wanted to get for him. So one time when I was with him, I said, honey, I just want to explain something to you. I know that you're not into the commercialism of Christmas. But do you realize that by my not giving you presents, it's messing with my mind? And he went, what? And I said, you see, my joy is not that it's useful or whatever. I don't care if you throw it in the garbage the next day. You see, I just enjoy thinking about things that I can get for you and getting them and giving them to you. That's my joy. So when I can't do that, I'm cutting out part of my joy. Do any of you relate to what I'm saying? It's not about, it's very selfish on my part, And so I needed to change his mind about it. So I said, if you'll forgive me, honey, I'm going back to giving you some stuff. I won't make it very much. I won't embarrass you. I'll try to keep it small so it's easy to throw away or you re-gift it if you want to, but I just need to give it. That's all I ask. And he just laughed and said, oh, okay. So one of the small things I gave him for Christmas, this is so pathetic, you won't even believe it. When I was visiting him, when I was there recuperating, I noticed that he was really struggling with his air fryer, and he hasn't got one like mine. He's got one of those ones that have got the two little, what do you call them, baskets that you pull out. Actually, he's got two of them. So, but what he was having trouble with is cleaning them. And he kept trying to line them with foil, and you could tell that he really didn't like what was going on. He loved cooking with them, but he doesn't like the cleaning of them. So, guess what I gave him for Christmas? Some of those paper liners that you can put into air fryers, and you can take those up to about 450 degrees. Did you know that? Bit like, if you think about it, cupcake liners, they don't catch on fire. So, and I had little instructions, what to do with it and everything. And I thought, oh, he's going to put those in the garbage. Apparently not. I got a call yesterday. Mom? I go, what, honey? And he said, I cannot thank you enough for those liners for my air fryer. I use them all the time, every day. I need to know, where do I get more? Where did you get them? And I said, where do you think? But it was the excitement. And I said, oh, how did you think of that? And I said, because I was in your house and I watched you struggle with it. And I thought that's a really easy gift to give. I gave him some. How many of you remember the elephant? I think I showed you the elephant I gave him. He loved that too. But it was just like, he was so excited. And I said, well, here is the link, but you may want to consider one up from that as well. You may want to consider getting some silicone liners that you can just tuck into the dishwasher and not have to throw away. And he didn't know they did that, you see. Well, I've got experience, and Jody's taught me a lot. So here's the thing. If I hadn't disobeyed his instruction to not give presents, then, he would never have found that out. So did I manage to churn him around with his own stuff in a way? You see, the more you feed your mind with positive thoughts, the more you can attract great things into your life. If you concentrate your time on all the negative thoughts, you're just going to bring more negativity into your life, and I don't like that at all. So you can imagine how pleased I was that I, broke the rules and got him that anyway. What else did I get him? Oh, I got him a little Santa Claus coat. Like the coat that Santa Claus wears to go over a wine bottle. And I said, I know that you're not into big Christmas decorating or anything else, but I do know you like to entertain. So here you go. Here's your Christmas decoration for your wine bottle when you entertain over the Christmas time. He thought it was a brilliant idea. So simple and yet festive. Now, my sister every year reminds me, the conversation, well, it's not a conversation, the instruction goes, I've told all my friends that, we're not giving presents anymore. I've told all my friends that we're not giving presents anymore. That tells you everything. So I said to her, as I did to Daggy, yep, I understand that, but my joy is in giving, so forgive me, I'm still probably going to send you something. Like, what you do is up to you. I'm just, I get joy out of doing it. So it's not about, it's a very selfish thing on my part. It's part of my joy at Christmas. So, but so this year I sent down some of the, the last year's houses that we made, and she loved them. I noticed that she had them in her table decoration for when she had people over. So, yep. Joel Osteen said, get your mind going in the right direction and you'll get your life going in the right direction. Jody's saying, nice of her to decide on everybody else's behalf. That's exactly how I saw it as well. It's like, please don't tell me what I'm allowed to do. I know what I'm allowed to do, whatever I like. What you do with it is up to you. I don't really care. You see, that's the difference. It's not, it's like, I don't care if you throw it away. It doesn't work. And well, it's just a waste of money. And I know it's not for me. No. Oh, So now I'm changing. How do we do this change the mindset thing? Jody sent me the really cute thing, and it says, I'm focusing on changing my mindset about the declutter, right? If you remember the declutter thing. And she said it's now all about the 15-minute mini task thing versus the overwhelming, I can't tackle this thinking. The mere fact that something is getting done and moving forward towards a goal, it's been so very helpful. Also, I'm starting to take that one thing out of the room every time I get up and put it where it belongs, or go get rid of it. Yep, either it goes where it belongs or you have to get rid of it. That's a good idea, right? And she said, imagine what our place would have looked like if I'd started this years ago. Well, you didn't. And don't think about the past. Don't think about what you should have done. What was it, Forrest Gump, when he said, I don't know why, but for some reason he's buying shares in apples. Not Apple, apples. It's just like, how many of you wish you had bought shares in Apple and kept them? You see, don't think like that. So Jody's saying, thank you for teaching this mindset. I wanted you to know that it's making a difference in my frustration. Yeah, Jody, one of the things that I want you to really concentrate on, because your emotional intelligence is now so progressed, that it is always about, if I paid you $1 million, how would you do it? That area that you talk about close to where you sit. I hear about that quite a bit, and I keep thinking, I wonder if I paid her $1 million to get it cleared up, what she'd do. Oh, by the way, we wanted to report that even Lauren is on the 15-minute thing as well, and she did one thing during the week and now has started a second one, not because she had to do 2 in a week, but just because she wanted to, because she got so much joy out of the result of the first one. So, it's all about, how do we find the time? How do you find 15 minutes in a week, people? Tell me. How do you find the 15 minutes to declutter? Because you're all busy people. Right? You're all busy people. So how do you find that time? How did Kimmy find the time to learn how to do eBay when she already had a full life? How do I find the time to redo something that went wrong 3 times? And what I've discovered, there's only one thing that makes it possible. It's Poshmark that she uses. Sorry, not eBay, right? Yes, exactly, Jeannie. If it's important to you, you make the time. She said, take the time. You make the time. You drop something else so that you have the time, if it's important to you. So, Jody, you understand the mindset that needs to change for you is not declutter. I wouldn't do that because that's hard work. I would change your mindset. Oh, thank you, Chris. Chris is saying there are 10,080 minutes in a week. Can you find 15 of them to declutter? Jody, if you concentrate on, if anybody walked into my place right now, would I be embarrassed with the clutter? And if your answer is yes, just literally say to yourself, what one thing can I tidy today? Just one thing. It can be literally contain. Remember, the thing is, purge, contain, and hide. Basically, I find, put it where nobody can see it. All right. So Kim is saying, I hope it doesn't snow on Tuesday. I have to drive to see the cardiologist. Have you checked the weather forecast? Is it due to to snow. I wouldn't hope about it. I'd check. What's plan B if it is snowing? Will you go anywhere? So, as far as I know, there's an Arctic thing coming in for the east. It's just partially cloudy. So, right. So, and it's close enough now that they would know. Yeah, we've got snow coming, I think, but only for a night or something. How about this one? I quote Louise Hay a lot. I love this quote from her. She said, "Every thought we think is creating our future." Every thought you think is creating your future. So you look at it, good to see you too, Chris. When you look at it and go, if most of your thoughts are negative, are blaming, dealing with it. Let me give you a political example. I want to do this because I'm certain I wasn't the only one that had this 180 go on. How many of you, and forgive me, it doesn't matter which political party you're on, listen to the whole thing before you make a judgment on me. How many of you, when you heard about ex-President Trump having documents that he shouldn't have stored away at Mar-a-Lago, had some pretty strong views about it all? And yeah, he needs to go to jail and all sorts of things, and whatever. And that's all going pretty well for those of you who went that way, until you find out that, oh, that's interesting, President Biden's got them as well, all over the place. Did it immediately change the way you looked at what President Trump had done? And now you're going, wow. My thing was, when I heard that Biden had done it as well, I said, this is a problem of the protocol. There needs to be a protocol thing in that that these documents are checked in and out before you get to leave the White House. They have to say, these are the documents we know you have and we need them back before you go. And we need to check them in and scan them or whatever they do. But then I thought about it, what about Pompeo? How many has he got? What about the Clintons? How many have they got? What about the Bushes? How many are sitting down in the Bushes Texas ranch? But Kimmy's saying no one should have any documents. But how many times did you ever take work home? Especially, I'm thinking about if you're Pompeo, Secretary of State, or Clinton, Secretary of State. All right, you're working 24 hours a day or on call, because why? You're dealing with the whole world, and the whole world is working while you're meant to be sleeping. So therefore, you're going to need access to some of those documents during everybody else's sleeping hours. So I can understand why some documents end up there. However, what I'm saying is, if anybody can see what I'm saying, is this has now become, this isn't a one-person problem. This is apparently a big problem. Everybody's done it and continues to do it. So either it's not fixable or we need a different system. But here's what I do know. All those people who thought Trump was going to jail, I don't think so now. Right? Because the reason for it has changed. And he is no longer not the bad guy, the only person to ever do this. He is now amongst many. So I found that my whole thinking changed quite dramatically as I heard the second bit of information. I don't know who said this, but I thought it was a great quote that we need to really keep in mind. Your strongest muscle and worst enemy is your mind. Train it well. I think for those of you who've had sickness, you know that one of the most important things you can do in sickness is to have the right mindset to cope with it, to deal with it, to overcome it if possible. So from that perspective, if we are not constantly working on changing our mind around in very as fast as possible. Remember how even with the furnace, I actually said, all right, I know I don't need to make an immediate decision, so let me think about this. All right. So I gave myself permission to think about this and not have to come up with immediate answer. And in the meantime, I'll heat the house with electricity and my fireplace. Um, it's about make sure that you give yourself the space you need. Wayne Dyer said, what we think determines what happens to us. So if we want to change our lives, we need to stretch our minds. So I want to say that it's really important that we challenge ourselves. Every time something happens and you have a negative thought, anybody got any negative thoughts that they're dealing with at the moment? Right? Jeannie is saying, good to hear that you changed your mind, right? Whoever heard of Biden's lawyers moving documents around? Are lawyers movers? No, but I believe that the lawyers did that for the FBI. That's what I understood. It's not that they were movers. The FBI asked that they go and check. I believe, Jeannie, I could be wrong on that. I would think, quite honestly, once the whole President Trump thing came about, surely every past, and that's what I can't understand, surely every past president said, I better go check what I've got in my place. Right? I mean, that would be, I don't know, that's what my thinking would be. And I better get whoever in. You see, not everybody can look for them. You do know that, right? Not everybody can look for what do you call them? Classified documents. Only a certain level of people can. And anyway, I don't know enough about it, but maybe do a bit more research and we'll come back with some answers here. The Buddha said that the mind is everything, and what you think about, you become. Yeah, Chris is saying, I stopped caring. If you're not paying, I'm not worrying about it. Word that a different way for me. Yeah, I would like to say it's a big wake-up call, Kimmy. I agree with you. Right? They all better start turning over those classified documents. As I said, I bet you there are a whole stack of the Bushes, and I bet you there are a whole stack of the Clintons, and probably Jimmy Carter's got a few as well. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a big wake-up call. But what about Pompeo? What about all the secretaries of state? What about all the other people? There's so many, that have eyes on classified documents. It's not just the presidents, for goodness sake, right? And you think about it. Do we have enough manpower or woman power to be able to check everybody's residences, for the last 10 years, 20 years? I don't know. What about past presidents from, who've passed on? What happened to the documents they had? It's a big no. Okay, so if your mind is precious, and I hope you believe that it is, it has the power to unlock infinite possibilities. Do you all agree on that one? Yeah, every step forward I take with the Christmas villages creates another problem or challenge. What did I want to show? Yeah, for example, some of you are going to join the Christmas club and get them pre-made, pre-folded, all the scores turned and everything, so you can make them yourself. But some people are going to say, Sal, I don't really want to do that. I just want them. So can you send me them? And I thought, how on earth am I going to send things that delicate? And what I realized was if I get a good enough box, in other words, what I call a shipping box that is pretty sturdy, this is only a one layer of cardboard. But I was amazed how many houses I could just huck in there. I haven't put them in properly, obviously, but I was amazed how many houses would fit into that. But what if I get what I call a good box, a shipping box? Let me show you the difference. You see, a shipping box has double walls to it, not a single wall, double walls. All right. So as this one's a bit big, but I'm going, oh, that would work. And then I thought, yeah, but how am I going to keep them separated and in the right place and everything else? And I thought, let me think on that for a while. Another problem that I need some thinking time on. So I didn't worry about it. I just knew that I would think about it. And then I woke up one morning and went, oh, that would work. What if I get those corrugated things that you use for glasses? You know, when you're packing glasses, when you're moving, they have those sort of corrugated bits. You know, you create squares and you just pop your glasses in there. I'm going, that would work. So then I saw the price of those and I go, those are really expensive. And then I thought, well, I do have quite a bit of cardboard coming into the house every day because, you know, I bought shares in Amazon apparently. So I was just like, I can make a plan. And by the way, I've got lots of leftover paper. You know, I can create my own recycling system. Or I can make mini little containers, you know, that would look cute, wouldn't it? If they were all in it. Yeah, right. But the other thing is this, I realized that sending them in a good box is a good idea because then, you know, then you just go, when you finish Christmas, you can put them in here and store them for the year in a good box. Don't have to worry about it. So, yeah, it's amazing how everything's happening one step at a time. And with my thinking, as you know, I've been really vacillating, going backwards and forwards in my mind about, do I buy the commercial license for the whole village? Now, I'm up to about close to 30 little bits, right? If you count all the houses, all the different bases that go underneath them, you know, the fences, the trees, the little bits here, there. It's like, at the moment, I think I'm close to 30 bits that I've already made. I was thinking, well, which ones are going to be and you know, I was looking at it today and I thought, you know something, this not having the license is beginning to stand in my way. Makes sense. The fact that I haven't bought the commercial license yet started to get in my way. And I went, well, then that has to go. I need to get the license. Yeah, but do I get it for a small amount or the whole lot? If I get the whole lot, then I save $100, but I got to spend more money up front. Whereas if I did it season by season, I just spend this much, keep adding to it. And I said, you know something? You got some unexpected money coming in from people who wanted some counseling. They're trying to get it into med school, and you're an expert at that, getting people in. So, you know, you've got money coming in you weren't expecting. Maybe it's not a coincidence. And by the way, do you already have that money sitting in PayPal anyway? Yeah. Why? From other hard work that you did? Yeah. So will it make your life easier if you have the licenses because you won't be worried about, you know, I can't do anything until I get the licenses? Yep. So you'll be pleased to hear that when I worked through all that today, it was obviously the right time. I just wrote to the designer and said, okay, send me the invoice for the whole set. So now, you know, it's just like, if she's slow on that, I am just like, I will, cause more problems for her. You remember last time she was slow on replying and didn't send me the invoice, so I just sent the money? You have no idea how much trouble that caused her. Because money went into her PayPal account that she couldn't track because it came from my side, not from hers. It was really funny because apparently the PayPal system is linked in some sort of way. And it was really funny because you cannot believe it. They even sent me a notice to say that I needed to pay a bill that you all know I paid before I got the invoice. So I just wrote to her and laughed, and I just went, this is actually quite funny, and I'm sorry to give you this problem. But you and I both know I've already paid. But we got to make sure that the computer at PayPal understands it. And I have no idea how to do that. And you probably don't either, but PayPal does. So just to let you know, they are sending me reminders to pay a bill that I've already paid because I didn't do it the right way. I apologize for that. But you know why? I was waiting for an answer and I didn't want to wait. Brian Tracy said the key to success is to focus your conscious mind on things we desire, not things that we fear. Jody, if you want a tidy house, I think you need to look at yourself in the mirror and go, this is, if it's going to be, it's up to me. All right. And I know that you have all the excuses. I can't stand long. I can't do this. I can't do that. But you can say to Lionel, bring me all the things on the top of that credenza or whatever it is you want cleared and put it in my lap. And bring me a garbage bag and bring me, a cubie, because it's either all going in the garbage or it's going to get into one cubie. And I can label the cubie the crud that was on the credenza. Yeah, exactly, Jody. His job is to bring it to you. Your job is to get the things that are up. I know it's upsetting you, but you can do this. And as I said, just look at it and go, if somebody came in here, which bit that always helps me know where to start. And by the way, I'm doing it every day where I've got my sort of entrance, and because when you walk into my house, you can see my fireplace, you can see into the kitchen a little bit. You can see that fireplace area. I've got seating and tables there. You can see into my living room, and you can see part of my dining room. So, I've got most of that. Now, the dining room I haven't really worked on yet. But, the rest of it is, they have to get to sit down before they can see the dining room sort of thing. So I'm just bit by bit. But I have started in the dining room. I must admit, I have started. How about this one? The mind is a vessel not to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. Right? Keep your mind working. Yes, Jody's saying one of the rewards that they're getting from doing this is they're finding things they thought they'd lost. Now, if I do this enough, maybe I'll find my passport. The thing is, you and I both know I am not a stupid person. Well, not too stupid. And I'm pretty logical. So if I had moved my passport for the reason, if I had another fire, where do I want my passport to be? It would be close to a door, right? And it makes sense to me. It would also make sense to me that what would I grab to take with me, in the case of the fire, and it would be my computer. So I have got a bag that I used to keep my computers in when I was traveling with Benji a lot, right? It's like a leather backpack that I used to hold all my computer equipment. It had all the chargers and everything else, and I could have sworn I put it in there. No, apparently not. So here's the thing. Steve Maraboli, right? How often do I quote him? Once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change along with it. When you realize the only reason that our place gets to be a mess is because we don't put things away. I am working really hard, and it's difficult to change a lifetime of habit. I'm working really hard to do what I can not to go to bed before my kitchen is tidy-ish. When I say tidy-ish, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be about this level, all right, where I can see countertops, right? Where things that need to go in the dishwasher are in the dishwasher and I've turned it on. The very last thing I do now is to turn the dishwasher on. In other words, I clear everything up and then I turn on the dishwasher and then I go to bed. Now I'm going to go from the dishwasher to the printer, to the cutter, to set the fences cutting or something else that takes a long time on my way to bed. I'm not going to get into that routine. So my question to you is, do you get it? Do you get that you get to change your mindset? And if you can, if you have the mental ability to change the mindset from victim, I don't know how to do it, or I don't have enough time, or oh, I wish we had the money, or whatever. Now, if you don't have the money, start the plan to, to earn money, save money, do whatever. It's like none of us have the money. The reason I got the thing on Wish is I don't have the money. The reason I haven't got my furnace is because I don't have the money. So, it's like we all don't have the money. It's like, what are you going to do about it? Or you're going to spend the rest of your life saying, well, I would have loved it, but I didn't have the money. It's not true. If you really loved it, if you really wanted it, if you really cared about it, you would actually eventually get it. I know that. And so I challenge you all to just give your head a big shake here. And every time this week you give one of those excuses, oh, I don't feel well enough. Oh, I don't have enough time. Oh, I don't know how to do it. I want you to laugh and go, boy, those used to work, didn't they? How many of you believe that by the time Jess comes to pick me up to take me to the cancer clinic tomorrow, I will have got 2 bags of garbage ready to go in the garbage because that was my commitment? And how many of you believe that by the time she comes, oh, by the way, I probably put them in the garbage, even if it's raining. What about by the time she comes back from the cancer clinic with me, that my boxes will be ready to go under the deck so I don't waste her time? How many of you believe that will happen? And how many of you believe that I will probably stay up all night if I have to create that? I don't have to. I just have to make it a priority. But what if I get distracted by the tennis, or distracted by, the cutting machine or whatever? Will I then pay the price and do it at a different time that I don't want to? Yeah, I gave a commitment and I want to do it. I don't want to do it. Obviously, who wants to rummage through a whole tote of crud? The thing is, I know that probably 90% of it needs to go in the garbage, and it's going to break my heart to get rid of things that I paid good money for. I understand where the mental block is. I understand where the mental block is. Therefore, it makes it easier. So, can you all think of what is it I have to say to myself? Let's see what you would say. When I pick something up and I go, I remember buying that, it was so cute. But it didn't come out this year, or the year, or last year, or the year before. What am I going to say to myself? What would you say? See, and if I get those words right before I start, I will just keep repeating, thank you. I enjoyed you about 5 years ago. I'm not enjoying you anymore. I'm sorry to tell you that. And then I know that some of you are going to say, but if it's still good, will you donate it to Goodwill or whatever? Maybe. I do have a box that I'm putting together of clothing and stuff to go to Goodwill or the equivalent. So as long as, and by the way, it will not stay in my house. That goes immediately into my car until you can't get into my car anymore. And then I go and take the whole lot. Believe me, that happens quite quickly these days because I'm getting better. I'm quite proud. We can change our thinking if we choose to. And we would change it all the time, every day, for things we want to do. So let's do it better. Let's do it to create what we say we want. And let's stop the excuses and beating up on ourselves. Right? It will feel so much better. We'll be so much healthier. This is Dear Mama Soul saying thank you all for being here. I hope that it rang a few bells. I hope that some of you are going, it's true. And Jody, thank you for being here to assist me. And thank you for the topic, Jody. I definitely would not have gone that route this week, but it was such a great idea. I thank you so much, even if it was unintentional. Just when I heard that, I went, yeah, that mindset thing. Great idea. Positive mindset. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, we'll see you on Friday, hopefully. And fingers crossed for the meetings this week. Bye-bye for now.